Danger Dolan.
From horrible puns that have no place in a major gaming release to titles that leave little to the imagination, we count 30 of the dumbest video game names of all time.
Number 30.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors. This is a good example of a great game that was hurt in sales because of poor naming. I mean, the title honestly sounds like a game all about mediocre humor, or possibly a kid's game, when it's definitely neither of those things.
Number 29.
Halo Custom Edition. Gearbox released this edition of Halo for Windows, and I have no idea why they gave it the same acronym as the original game. Did they not take a moment to look on the internet and see the original being referred to as Halo CE after the second game's release? Maybe they wanted brand confusion, I don't know.
Number 28.
Bravely Default. In this game, you bravely decided to be default. Boring, nondescript, except not really, or rather not at all. I get that they named the game after its main gameplay mechanic, but that's like naming Final Fantasy IV Active Time Battling. It makes no sense.
Number 27.
Unpossible. This game involves whirring down a cylinder, pressing left or right to avoid intrinsically designed barriers. So why did I think it was an English educational game featuring Ralph Wiggum?
Number 26.
Irritating Stick. So there's a stick, and it annoys the player because it will shock them if it hits the walls of the maze they're trying to go through. What should we call it? Oh, I know. Irritating Stick. That will totally draw players in and not make them think of the time their sibling poked them with the stick one time. Yeah.
Number 25.
Spyborgs. If you thought this was the title of a Saturday morning cartoon designed at 8-year-olds, you are not alone. However, this game has a teen rating and was panned by critics for being too difficult. Sounds totally perfect for a kid to play.
Number 24.
Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Revengeance. Revenge plus vengeance. Hooray for redundancy overload. Who on earth thought this sounded like a title that was anything other than ridiculous? I can't think of a single reason why vengeance or revenge or even vendetta couldn't have worked instead.
Number 23.
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. Hey, so what do you call a person who goes and fights a war? Warrior, right? So why not call it warriors? Were they trying to be politically correct? But no, warrior isn't gender specific. Then again, it seems that Homeland Security have adopted this term as well, but that doesn't make reinventing perfectly good words a good idea.
Number 22.
Bomb. Who let the dog fight? Mixing an incredibly bad pun with a very outdated pop culture reference does not make it better. Two wrongs don't make a right, and my goodness, this is a doozy of a bad name. What reaction were they going for? I'm assuming it wasn't a groan?
Number 21.
Zenzizenzik. If you have trouble pronouncing this name on your first try, you are not alone. This mouthful of a phrase lacks any real meaning apart from possibly Zen. I'm sure someone really liked this game, went to recommend it to a friend, but since it was their first time trying to say it out loud, they gave up quickly because they were just making a fool of themselves.
Number 20.
Balls 3D, fighting at its ballsiest. Let's cram pack inappropriate innuendos into a title. This could only lead to people sniggering and talking about it in the classroom, right? Oh wait, you mean parents buy games for their kids and anyone old enough to buy it for themselves just rolled their eyes? Well, shucks.
Number 19.
Xenosaga Episode 2, Jenseits von Gut und Böse. For the unenlightened, the German in this title refers to a philosopher's work known in the English-speaking world as Beyond Good and Evil. But why did they not use the English name for that in their subtitle? That is certainly a good question, one that philosophers will ponder forevermore. I know that it's the title of an Ubisoft game, but I don't think leaving in a subtitle that's meaningless to a lot of people is the best choice.
Number 18.
Spanky's Quest. Yes, the monkey in this game is called Spanky. Yes, spank the monkey is euphemism for masturbation, but I guess this is just another example of poor localization. Spanky was called Lucky and Mr. Jiro in Japan, and I cannot fathom why they didn't just keep Lucky as the original name.
Number 17.
Butts Ball. Let's take Pong and make it extreme and modern and awesome. That'll be great as an indie title, now we just need a name. Well, I for one am immature, so let's mix butt and ball and call it a day.
Number 16.
Rex Nebula and the Cosmic Gender Bender. I don't even know where to begin here. The game's basic plot involves a planet inhabited entirely of females, but they needed a form of reproduction, so they invented a machine that allowed them to change sexes for a brief amount of time, and they called it the Cosmic Gender Bender. So, I guess the game name is accurate.
Number 15.
Wargasm. War Ground Air Special Missions was shortened to Wargasm, or rather they thought Wargasm was a funny name and decided to make an acronym for it. Of course, this isn't even close to being a comedic game, however I'm pretty sure it pandered to the exact crowd they were looking for, 13 to 15 year olds that only have two things on their minds, first person shooters and jacking off.
Number 14.
I honestly don't know how to pronounce this. XEXYZ. I'm guessing it's Zexis, but then it could be sexes. Maybe it's even sexes. I'm stumped. It's not even a matter of ignoring the name and going on about my day. It stuck out like a sore thumb and I can't look at it without being perplexed and mildly annoyed.
Number 13.
Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. Because everyone loves drawn out, unnecessarily long names that really could have been quite easily condensed into simply King Kong. I find it hard to believe that anyone would assume it would be based on the original black and white movie, but even if they would, that's exactly what the cover art is for.
Number 12.
Tongue of the Fat Man. What do you think of when you see the cover art and hear the name? If you thought of a fighting game, you would be both right and a cheater, because I refuse to believe that anyone could make that assumption based on the two. Also, who could hear that and not be even slightly weirded out?
Number 11.
Beyond the Beyond. Yep, everyone loves repetition. I say everyone loves repetition, I do. This title certainly sounds like you're really going out of the bounds of your knowledge. Out of the bounds of your knowledge, I say. Yes, I really do. I'm sure this sounded nice to the Japanese, I'm sure it did, but don't you think it's clunky? Clunky is the feeling I got too.
Number 10.
Undiscovery. That's an infinite amount of things to not discover in this game. Doesn't that make you excited? Maybe it makes you want to stop whatever you're doing and rush to eBay in order to purchase the game just because of its incredibly alluring title. Because that's exactly what I did. But then I'm just a big nerd when it comes to not discovering things, so that could just be me.
Number 9.
Massive action game. They even omitted this overly descriptive name from the cover of the box. It just says MAG. It honestly sounds like a working title that they got too attached to for whatever reason. Although the acronym is pretty cool. But is it that hard to come up with something that isn't just blatantly descriptive? I mean, cool, you have a 256 player multiplayer on a console. That's impressive. But don't just call it massive action game. It sounds like the title of a video game you'd find in a video game.
Number 8.
Iggy's Wreckin' Balls. This title can be read one of two ways. Either Iggy has some wreckin' balls or Iggy is wreckin' balls. And either way, the name has some connotations that make it less likely for a parent to buy the game. Even if this is 1 in 1,000 parents that don't buy it because of the name, why would you want to lose sales because of a poorly thought out name?
Number 7.
Super Army War. You can't get much more boring than this. The Super doesn't even come close to rectifying the boringness of this name, especially considering the multitude of games in the SNES era with the Super prefix. This doesn't even strike me as the working title when making the game. It just screams, we don't give a fuck. And the worst thing is, it's not like it's from some far off country, it's from France, the nation that is next door to the birthplace of the English language. It can't have been that hard to find someone to come up with a better name.
Number 6.
Golf Magazine presents 36 Great Holes starring Fred Couples. There is very little information related to this game on the internet, so I'm going to risk myself when I say this, but the Wikipedia article says this game has 27 golf courses included, and a legal golf course has 9 or 18 holes, so why do they say 36 holes? Are the rest of them terrible abominations that they didn't think were worthy of the title? Did they think that 36 was a nice number and the players would be pleasantly surprised when there were more holes in the game? Because I don't think underselling is the point of marketing, but I could be wrong.
Number 5.
Clandestiny of Elise. The compound words are back with a revengeance. Not only do you have clan and destiny, but you also have what I can only assume is divinity at the end of the title, just to make it that extra bit special. This is what I can only describe as a clusterfuck of a name. Nothing redeeming about it.
Number 4.
Divine Divinity. Yup, Divine Divinity. It's not like some divinity isn't divine. This is just 100% extra divineness to go with your divinity. What else could you want? Now, I said that clandestinity was a clusterfuck, but this is something beyond. I'd go so far as to call it a clustered cluster fucking fuck. It's just that awful.
Number 3.
Space corn. Space corn. Did you think of growing crops on the moon or something when you heard this? Me too, because why else would they capitalize the C in corn? Turns out this game is a text-based adventure with a pink unicorn. I don't really know why you want to play this, but it exists. It is on Steam and you can pay actual money for this experience.
Number 2.
Wild Woody. Yeah, Wild Woody. If that isn't a euphemism, I honest to God don't know what is. I mean, I guess it could be worse. It could be a raging Woody, a gigantic Woody, a phallic Woody. The list goes on for quite a while, so it isn't the worst name in the world, but it most certainly is up there.
Number 1.
Touch Dick. This is only the Korean title, but if it doesn't make you laugh, you have no sense of humor, and I don't think I like you anymore. They changed it in the English release, which is honestly a shame. I might have bought this just to put it on the wall. You can't get any more explicit than this. Adding a K doesn't change the sound. The proper way to pronounce it is in fact dick. But yeah, this would have been a total disaster, as only immature people like me would have bought it purely for the novelty factor. Xbox One and the Wii U. You thought we were done, but how can I not talk about these monstrosities, each is horrible in its own way? You've got the Wii U, which confuses non-gamers into thinking it's simply another add-on like the Wii Fit. You've also got the fact that gamers learned to mostly dislike the Wii for how few games it had targeted the non-casual market. It's literally a lose-lose. Then you've got the Xbox One, which is shortened to the X-Bone, which does not sound pleasant. And you've got the fact that almost everyone referred to the first Xbox as the Xbox One. Presumably they wanted people to call it the One, which is just horrible as well.
That's it for this countdown, and have a good one!